there, campers. This is STEM Experiments with Emily, and it's time to learn some science. Before we get into today's experiment, we're going to be talking about a topic that the ancient Egyptians are most known for, their unique process of preserving the dead known as mummification. The Egyptians believed that this special technique would protect the soul in its travels through the afterlife. They even had a god of mummification in the afterlife named Anubis. Anubis was one of the most important gods in Egyptian mythology because he alone determined the fate of your afterlife as the guardian of the scales, meaning to live on forever in spirit. You would be asked to weigh your heart on one side of a scale against a single feather from the goddess of truth, Ma'at. Legend has it, if your heart was lighter than the feather, it meant that you led a good and honest life, and you would be given the gift of immortality. Anubis was depicted a man with the head of a jackal, which today we call a wolf. Because of this, when priests made mummies, they wore the mask of a jackal themselves. So, how was a mummy made anyhow? Let's watch this video on YouTube to find out.
Ancient Egypt. The ancient Egyptians believed in several rituals in order to reach the afterlife, into the next world, and achieve immortality. Death was seen as a temporary state, and a dead person's spirit needed a body. So to preserve it, a process of mummification was used. This process and quality of the mummification varied depending on the person's status and wealth. The highest ranks in society got the best method of preservation after they died. Firstly, the body was washed in water and salt. The brain was then removed and discarded, using a hook through the nostrils. The body was then slit open and the organs were removed, except for the heart, which the ancient Egyptians believed would guide the person into the afterlife. The liver, lungs, intestines, and stomach were kept and placed in 4 canopic jars, one for each organ. These jars each featured a lid sculpted as one of the sons of Horus: Hapi, who protected the lungs; Duamutef, the stomach; Imseti, the liver; and Qebehsenuef, the intestines. The body was then filled with myrrh, cassia, and other spices, then sewn up together and packed with a special salt called natron for up to 70 days, which prevented the flesh from rotting. After this process, the body was shriveled and dehydrated, so the embalmers would stuff the empty body with sawdust and linen to bring it back to its original shape, oil the skin to soften it, and add false eyes and a wig to make the corpse more lifelike. A resin was used to cover the body to prevent mold, and then the whole corpse was wrapped in layers of linen bandages. A face mask was made to look like the person, then was placed on the head of the corpse, and the body was placed into a wooden case, or if the person were rich, a stone sarcophagus. Mummies would be buried with items they might have needed for the afterlife, including jewelry, clothes, furniture, even pet cats and dogs who were mummified as well to keep them company. The less expensive method for the middle classes, or those who wished to avoid the expense, involved the corpse being injected with oil taken from cedar trees, liquefying the internal organs. It was then packed with natron for up to 70 days and given back to the family. The Egyptian embalmers were so skilled that even today, people that were mummified thousands of years ago still have some recognizable features.
Holy mummy, that was interesting. Which brings us to today's experiment. We're going to be mummifying an apple head. But first, let's go over our materials.
An apple, baking soda and salt, a plastic knife, a vegetable peeler, and a jar. Start by taking your vegetable peeler and peeling your apple. I suggest having an adult help you with this part so you don't cut your finger. Once your apple is peeled, you're going to take your plastic knife and carve out a little face. Here are my 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth. Take your container and start to pour in a little bit of the salt and a little bit of the baking soda and put your apple inside. Then fill the rest of the container and fully cover your apple. I used a spoon because it started to get a little messy. Let this mummify for 1 week.
This experiment takes 1 week to see your mummification. This is mine after 3 days.
At the end of the week, you should have something that looks like this. Let's play that back and check out the science. Salt and baking soda are desiccants. Desiccants remove water from any material it comes into contact with. Bacteria that causes rotting and decay need water to survive. Salt and baking soda remove the water from the apple, which makes it hard for bacteria to survive and causes decay. Therefore, we have mummification.
Thanks for watching STEM Experiments with Emily, and I'll see you next time.